He was always busy with work. Late nights, missed dinners, forgotten plans. Then one morning, his phone lit up with a text. "She still thinks you're working late? You're cruel." When I asked him, he said, "I'm tired of pretending." I nodded and pretended one last time. Right before he found out what I did with his clients, let me start by saying this isn't a story about heartbreak. It's a story about waking up, about seeing someone for who they really are, and about what happens when the person they thought would stay quiet doesn't. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Been here for about 6 years now. I moved for my husband's job. Thought we were building a life together. I was wrong. My husband, let's call him Travis, was one of those guys who knew how to impress people. Always had the right tie, firm handshake, confident voice. Everyone thought he was going places. He worked as a financial consultant. Big firm, big clients, big promises. That kind of thing. We met back in Raleigh. I was working admin for a law office, just trying to keep things steady. He walked in for a meeting with one of the partners, and next thing I knew we were getting lunch, then dinner, then weekends together. He said all the right things. Treated me like I was special. I really believed him. We got married after 2 years. No red flags, no gut feelings. Just a solid guy, or so I thought. Things started changing after the move to Charlotte. At first, it was small. He came home later. Said work was crazy. New clients, more meetings, last-minute calls. It made sense. He was trying to climb the ladder, right? I supported him. I made excuses for him to our friends when he missed get-togethers. Told my mom he was just really driven. Then it turned into full nights away. He said he had to stay at a hotel sometimes because meetings ran too late to drive back. Told me he didn't want to wake me up. Always had a reason. Always had an explanation. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But deep down, I started to feel like I was invisible. Like I was part of the furniture in our house. I cooked. I cleaned. I asked about his day. And most nights, he didn't even look up from his phone. He used to call me his world. Then I became a habit. I convinced myself this was just a rough patch. That we'd get through it. Maybe he was stressed. Maybe we just needed to take a trip. Reconnect. But he always said he didn't have time. Then one morning, everything changed. I woke up early that Thursday. I was brushing my teeth, still in my robe. His phone was on the bathroom counter. Usually he keeps it in his briefcase or face down next to him. But that morning, it lit up. I don't know what made me look. Maybe I was done pretending. The message said, "She still thinks you're working late? You're cruel." I froze. Just stood there with the toothbrush hanging from my mouth. I walked into the bedroom with the phone in my hand. He was still half asleep, laying there like he had no idea what was coming. I didn't yell. I just asked, "Who's this from?" He sat up, looked at me, and said in the coldest, flattest voice, "I'm tired of pretending." That was it. Just that. I nodded. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the phone. I just walked back into the bathroom and finished brushing my teeth. I already knew what I was going to do. I was going to pretend too. Just one more time. Because if he was done pretending, so was I. Just not in the way he thought. After that morning, I started watching him closely. He thought I was in shock. Thought I'd just cry it out and go back to ignoring things like before. But I wasn't broken. I was focused. I acted normal, made him coffee, asked about his day, did laundry like nothing had changed. I needed him to keep his guard down. He still left at 7:30 a.m. sharp every morning. Still came home past 10. Still claimed he was handling accounts or meeting with clients. But now I was done believing a single word. That night, after he went to sleep, I grabbed his phone again. He was a heavy sleeper. Always had been. I knew the passcode. He never changed it. Too cocky to think I'd check. I sat on the bathroom floor with the door locked and went through every message. Her name was Miranda. Blonde, 28, worked at a marketing firm that partnered with his agency. I found flirty texts, late night, "I miss you" messages, even voice memos. But the worst part? He told her he loved her. And it had been going on for almost a year. They had hotel bookings under both their names. Trips to Charleston and Savannah. There were photos of her in our bed, in our bathroom, using my robe. He brought her into my life like I didn't matter at all. That's when I snapped out of it. The pain, the confusion, it all drained out. I wasn't just sad anymore. I was furious. Not the kind of anger that yells and throws things. The kind that plans. I knew he had 6 major clients. All old men, mostly in real estate and logistics. I knew their names. I'd met most of them at company parties and Christmas dinners. I remembered how they talked, polite, formal, old-school values. These weren't men who liked messy personal lives or unprofessional behavior. So I started putting together a file. Screenshots, emails, hotel invoices, photos. Anything that tied his business trips to his affair. Anything that proved he billed hours for time spent with Miranda. I made a whole timeline, point by point. And while I built the case, I called my cousin Veronica. Veronica's in HR for a logistics company downtown. She deals with messes like this all the time. She knows how corporate works. I hadn't talked to her much in the last year. Travis always said she was too intense. But I knew she'd help me. When I told her what I found, she didn't say, "I'm sorry." She said, "Do you want him embarrassed or destroyed?" I told her, "I want him done." She said, "Okay." Then listen carefully. Veronica helped me draft emails. We didn't send them yet, we waited. She also knew someone who worked in his company's compliance team. Not a close friend, just someone who owed her a favor. We fed them little pieces, just enough to spark concern. At the same time, I reached out to 2 of his clients using fake names. Told them I was from a third-party audit firm. Said we had questions about billing hours. They bit fast. These guys didn't like waste and they hated being lied to. One even called Travis during dinner. I watched his face pale right across the table. He hung up, muttered something about a confused client, and left the table. He didn't notice me smirking as he walked out. The next day, I sent the first wave of evidence to all 6 clients. Not from my email. I used burner accounts. Set up like professional tips. Attached the files. Signed it concerned professional. Within days, 4 of them reached out to the agency directly. The other 2 waited. But once the story started leaking inside the company, the rest followed. It blew up fast. I stayed quiet. Kept acting like the clueless wife. Then one night he came home early. Slammed the front door. Red in the face. Pacing the kitchen. "They're investigating me," he said. I stayed calm. "Why?" "They said someone accused me of overbilling. Misconduct. They even mentioned personal relationships. I don't know how they found out." I tilted my head. "You think someone's trying to get rid of you?" He stared at me. For a second, I thought he knew. But then he just said, "Someone's jealous. That's all this is. Jealous and petty." I smiled. "That's too bad." He sat down, put his head in his hands. I made him tea. Inside, I was shaking from how good it felt. I thought that would be the end. But then I found something else. I was cleaning the home office more like pretending to. Found a USB drive in one of his drawers. Thought it was just backups. It wasn't. It had contracts. Ones I'd never seen. He was planning to leave the firm. Start his own consultancy. And he was already talking to Miranda about joining him. They were going to use his current firm's clients to launch it. He was going to take everything he built with their money and run. That changed things. Now I wasn't just trying to ruin him. I wanted to crush everything he thought he could build. Finding that USB was like striking gold. If gold came with receipts, lies, and a full blueprint for betrayal. It wasn't just contracts and planning docs. There were emails between Travis and someone named Tom R. One of his coworkers, apparently. They weren't just gossiping. They were actively working behind the scenes to poach his firm's clients before the firm even knew he planned to leave. Miranda was listed on a few of the mock contracts as marketing lead. He had her involved from day one. They were planning to go live with the new business in August. This was March. He thought he had 5 months to gut the firm, pull in the clients, then vanish into his new life with her, with my support unknowingly funding half of it. I stared at that drive in my hand for 10 straight minutes. That was when I decided I wasn't just taking him down. I was burning every bridge he thought he could cross. The next day, I called Veronica again. I need this to go deeper, I told her. He's planning to steal clients. The company doesn't know. Then it's time to show them, she said. She helped me put together a report, anonymously, of course. We used one of her HR portals to submit a complaint directly to his firm's executive team. We attached every file from the USB, every early-stage contract, every private email. We also included the fact that he was sleeping with a vendor, Miranda, and had possibly shared confidential client information with her, a huge breach. Veronica also reached out to the compliance guy again. He responded the same day, "This is serious. We're escalating." Meanwhile, I was watching Travis unravel at home. He barely ate. He stopped shaving. He started drinking wine straight out of the bottle around midnight. The confident, cocky man I married was shrinking in front of me. One night, I found him sitting in the dark in the living room, his laptop open, a client email open on the screen. "They're asking questions I can't answer," he said. "About contracts. About Miranda. About my billing hours. I think someone's sabotaging me." I stood in the hallway and stared at him. I said, "Why would someone do that?" He just shook his head. "I don't know, but this is bad." And it was about to get worse. 2 days later, he got a letter. It was hand-delivered by courier. I saw the logo on the envelope, his company. I waited until he opened it. He stood frozen in the kitchen for nearly 5 full minutes. Then he cursed loud enough to shake the cabinets. Suspension pending investigation. He stormed into the bedroom and started ripping drawers open. I stayed in the hallway and watched him tear through files, looking for anything that would explain what happened. "You okay?" I asked. He didn't answer. Then he asked something strange. "Did you talk to anyone? Did you tell anyone about Miranda?" I blinked. Why would I? He didn't answer. Just went back to tearing through his things. But I could see it. He was starting to suspect. He just wasn't sure. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. 3 days into his suspension, while he was still home trying to figure it out, he got a phone call. I was doing dishes. I heard him from the kitchen. "What do you mean she's suing?" No, this is personal." "She can't, what evidence?" I froze. After he hung up, he slammed the phone on the table so hard it bounced. "Miranda's suing me," he said. "She claims I manipulated her into quitting her job to work with me, and now she's got nothing. She's blaming me for everything." I nearly laughed. I didn't, but I wanted to. He walked past me muttering, "I should have kept this quiet. Should have waited until I had everything in place." I followed him into the hallway. "What do you mean, everything in place?" He stopped and looked at me. "It doesn't matter." "Oh, I think it does," I said, stepping closer. "Especially if you've been planning something behind your company's back." And behind mine. He stared at me hard, like he was finally putting it all together. "You," he said. "You're the one who did this, aren't you?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. He knew. And the fear in his face told me everything I needed. But I still wasn't done. I stood there, in the hallway, watching him put the pieces together. His face changed. Not anger. Not sadness. Just pure panic. Like the ground under him cracked, and he was about to fall in. "You ruined me," he said. I didn't flinch. "No," I said. "You did that to yourself. I just made sure the right people saw it." He laughed once, cold and sharp. "You think this makes you better than me?" "No," I said. "But it makes me free." A week later, he was officially fired. The company sent another courier. This time, it was a termination letter. They were dropping him for violating ethics policies, falsifying reports, and breaching client confidentiality. He tried to talk tough, said he'd sue, said they had no proof. But they did. I gave them everything. And Miranda's lawsuit? It stuck. She had emails where he promised her a secure position in his new company, plus proof she quit her job based on those promises. That's enough for damages, especially in a civil court. She dragged his name through court filings. It went public. One of his clients, Mr. Delaney, a serious, no-nonsense man who ran a family trucking company, filed a separate suit for overbilling and misrepresentation. He told the press Travis was a snake in a suit. The company froze his accounts until the investigation ended. All his work, gone. Everything he built, burned. 2 weeks after he was fired, I dropped the real bomb. I filed for divorce. But not just that, I filed with cause. In North Carolina, that matters. I listed adultery, financial fraud, and emotional abandonment. And because I had clear proof, and because the firm fired him with cause, I had leverage. A lot of it. Turns out, the house was in both our names, but the mortgage had been paid mostly with my savings from before the marriage. I had bank records going back 5 years to prove it. The judge saw that. I got the house, the car, and, thanks to Veronica's advice, I also got the rights to a few client contact lists that were shared between spouses during our marriage, which he never properly marked as proprietary. He never thought I'd use them, but I did. With some help from Veronica's firm, I started a small consulting agency of my own. Just organizing vendor deals, setting up logistics systems, doing what I'd watched him do for years. I didn't need to be a genius. I just needed to not lie and screw people over. One of his ex-clients offered to mentor me. Said I was the smart one in the family. I didn't correct him. Travis left Charlotte 2 months later. He sold what little he had left and moved into a rental outside Hickory, back near his parents. His license to operate as a financial consultant was under review by the state board. His name was mud in the industry. Miranda ghosted him completely. Never answered another call. Her lawsuit ended in a settlement. He paid her $38,000 just to make it stop. I know this because I watched it all unfold from my couch, eating takeout, legs up, while reading the court records. He tried starting a business again under a fake name. It failed in under 6 months. No one trusted the name attached to it, and when people found out who really ran it, they walked. I changed my number, got a new one, kept the house, painted the walls, sold the furniture he picked, and replaced it with stuff I actually liked. My business didn't explode overnight, but it grew. Slowly, honestly. I made real connections. I earned trust. Something he never understood. One night, about 9 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a message. No name. Just, you win. I hope you're happy. I deleted it. Because I wasn't bitter. I wasn't angry. I was just done. I didn't destroy him out of hate. I exposed him, because people like him don't stop unless they're forced to. He lied, cheated, stole, and smiled through it all. So I made sure the smile was the first thing to go. Final score. He lost his job, his reputation, and his savings. Miranda sued him, then disappeared. I got the house, the car, the clients, and my peace. And I never had to raise my voice once. Revenge didn't feel good right away. But peace? That felt better than anything he ever gave me. And the best part? I did it all while he still thought I was the quiet wife who didn't know a thing.
There's not much more to say after that.
But people always ask me one last thing. Do you regret it?
No.
I don't. I regret believing him for so long. I regret putting my life on pause to lift his up. I regret every dinner I ate cold, every time I lied to my friends for him, every time I stayed quiet when I should have asked harder questions. But what I did, exposing him, taking what he used to control me and flipping it into the thing that broke him?
No.
I don't regret a single part of that. Because here's the truth. He wasn't just cheating with another woman.
He was cheating on my time.
On my loyalty. On my belief in him. He used me like a doormat, thinking I'd never stand up. And when I finally did, he crumbled like he'd never been strong to begin with. I still live in the same house. The neighbors know the story. Some give me that you poor thing look when they see me, but most don't. Most just wave, smile, ask me how business is going. Business is good. I've got a few regular clients now, nothing flashy. I do honest work, I sleep easy at night, and I don't waste time looking back. Travis tried to friend me on LinkedIn last month. I blocked him. I'm not bitter. I just don't need him near anything I build ever again. She's working at a digital PR firm now. I looked it up once out of curiosity. Her profile says resilient, hardworking, passionate about brand trust. I almost laughed. I hope she learned something. Maybe not about love, but about backing the wrong man. Some nights, I sit out on the porch with a drink and think about how close I came to letting him walk away clean. How close I came to letting him build a whole life off lies while I stayed behind picking up the pieces. And then I remember the way he said, "I'm tired of pretending." And I smile, because I pretended too. One last time. And that time, I didn't lose. I made sure he did.